Hey everybody, it's Silver Orpheus, and wow, I was not expecting this. So, as of today, it is the official 2-year anniversary of me bringing you guys videos on the internet. Um, there's some topics that I'd like to go over, namely t- improvements from last year, the projects that were worked on, and the rest will go from there. The only thing from that I covered pretty much last year that will not be covered this year are players press start topics, because let's just say we finally got around to making one of those videos now, so there's really no reason for me to go back and make one of those because those pretty much already exist. Now then, let's go ahead and start off with a project that I was actually working on at the time last, and like when I made the anniversary video last year, but I wasn't finished with it yet. And that project would be Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. That project. Okay. Like a certain other project on my channel that might be going over this episode, that might be going over in this video or not. Um that's this series had a very hard start. We were like 10 episodes into Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and then school started. I had just started senior year. Everything was getting all chaotic and all that stuff, so I had to take a nice like months long hiatus. Pretty freaking early on into a let's play, which is something I never want to do like ever again. I've only had to do it like one other time, and that one other time is actually also for schooling reasons. I'll be getting to that one later. Anyway, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was a project that I worked on from July 2020 to December of 2020. Once I actually got that project going, things were really smooth sailing. It didn't take me long to create a team. It didn't take me long to complete the game in general. And as for my overall thought process on Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, I felt like things were actually like really really good about it. Like in terms of quality at the time of its release, it was actually really good. Now, luckily, since then, I've actually come across some nice little internet friends that actually go through and critique my videos. Well, some of them. Um, others, others not. But hey, for those of you who do critique my videos and will actually knock me on a few points and stuff like that, like audio quality and like video quality and stuff like that, I thank you, because I guarantee it, I would not have made it this far without you guys. Let's Go was the start of me using capture equipment. And in fact, that was pretty much the reason why I wanted to do Let's Go in particular. In fact, the reason I did Let's Go at all is because I have been trying my damnedest since that project to look for a way to record handheld games so I could actually record Fire Red and Leaf Green, because those were the games that I really wanted to record when it came down to a Generation 1 Pokemon game. Couldn't find it. Couldn't find it then, still can't find it now. So if you're wondering why every single game on my channel up to this point is a console game and not a handheld, there you go. Funny, because a lot of my favorite video games in general are handheld titles. Whoops. So yeah, that Let's Go had to be a substitute for that. It was really my only substitute. Oh, Let's Go. In general, I don't think the game is bad. I don't think Let's Go is a terrible game. However, I do think as a remake to Generation 1, it leaves a lot to be desired. I don't think it's a remake that really did well. And overall, the game is all right if you have it like as a standalone game. But where this game really did well, in my opinion, aside from visuals, is the soundtrack. There is really not a single song in Let's Go that I don't like. The gym leader theme, Victory Road, trainer battles. Actually, wait, no, there is one. The regular wild encounter music. Why couldn't it just be the freaking red and blue battle theme? Hell, Snorlax gets the freaking default battle music, but not things like Caterpies. That's so dumb. Anyway, digressing on Let's Go arguments and stuff like that. Overall, in terms of actual presentation, there are things that I could use some work on, namely the Pokemon bios, which, if I could actually get around to doing a Pokemon game, that would probably be the one thing that I would fix the most, is the Pokemon bios. Yeah, in terms of pretty much anything that I can pretty much put together in Photoshop today, the bios were far below quality, and it doesn't help the fact that I had to pump out like 150 of these sons of bitches. Yeah, I really use that word for an anniversary video. Trust me, there are games later on that are very non-child friendly. So if that's the kind of stuff you're here looking for, I don't think my channel would probably be the best for that. I'd probably say PG-13 at minimum. This is something I think I went over last year, but it doesn't. But I digress. Overall, yeah, 150 something odd bios for each freaking Pokemon in an area. That got a little tedious, and I had to have at least one bio ready for each of them, especially by late game when you started running into their evolutions. That didn't help at all. So, yeah, most of my time working on Let's Go was actually dealt with early on, like before the series even began, because of the fact that I was working on all of these bios. And of course, I had even more time because there was a month's hiatus between school and all that stuff. So, Let's Go was overall a decently good project. Despite it being my first of the capture equipment, I can see myself decently going back to these videos. Overall, that's kind of how I'm gonna judge these videos. Like, if I can go back to it, like, fine enough, and like even like this year, like it doesn't even have to be in like the next like few. It's just this year. If I can find myself going back to it, then that constitutes for it being a pretty good series in my book. Now, Let's Go, out of the 3 projects I will be talking about today, is probably the one I can go back to the least. Because, yeah, every single Let's Play I've done up to this point has had some sort of technological improvement over the last. And that's really like a big theme I have with my channel, is that I really want things to improve in pretty much any way possible. So if that's something you can help me out with, guys, go ahead, because I encourage stuff like that. If you want to say something to me, like if you want to say like, hey, like your audio could use some improvements and stuff like that, or your video can, or the borders on the screen, like there's a lot of black space. Yeah, that's kind of stuff. Yeah, you can knock me on that. Just don't be an asshole while doing it, because that's when I will have a problem with it. However, yeah, Let's Go. My overall opinion on that series is good. I'd go back to it over my Final Fantasy VII series. So yeah, of course I'd probably want to go back to it. However, of the others coming up, no, not really. So, let's move on to the big one. The big project that actually didn't take me that long to complete. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Okay. I was actually waiting to do this one for like a lot later. However, the original Zelda project that I was going to do instead was Wind Waker. But while I was playing it for a test Let's Play, I'm just like, you know what sounds really good to play right now? Ocarina of Time. And so I started playing through Ocarina of Time, and I just had the biggest blast playing this game all over again. And believe me when I say, wow, Ocarina of Time was probably my biggest success for the time. I was getting like some of my top, like my highest marks on that series. Like, in fact, it was like so like I got so high marks to the point where I just kept going and going and going and going. Like, I think I was recording like almost every single night during that series. It was crazy. And my memories recording Ocarina of Time, it was the only series I've ever recorded where I was actually wearing headphones during it because when you're living in a house with your own parents and you have a little sister that's just crazy in every sense of the word and just creates all kinds of noise when you don't really want them to, that makes things really hard, especially during the summer months, which is why exactly when I just suddenly stopped making videos in the middle of summer. There you go. Now you know why I don't record and upload videos during the summertime. But Ocarina of Time was actually recorded during the winter months, and that was actually really good for me. Like, I rarely go outside often during the winter time, and when I do, it's like not for a long period of time. So sitting down and playing a game like Ocarina of Time, that was something that I just overall enjoyed. And the apps and the reviews that I got for Ocarina of Time was actually really good. In fact, this was probably the series where a lot of my friends came from. Um, the first one that I got was Anhonkade. In fact, I would actually like to talk about him first. Uh, but okay, this is not meant to sound embarrassing in any way, shape, and form. But I was actually introduced to the guy through my own mother. So, yeah, that happened. Like, it sounds really awkward, but it was. But honestly, this guy, holy crap! I don't think I've ever gotten like a critique. Actually, I probably have, but as far as overall critiques, I don't think anyone does it better than him because it's entirely different when you're getting a critique from somebody who doesn't do what you're doing versus somebody who does. And honestly, it was thanks to Anhonkade that I actually switched to my modern day audio setup, which is having two OBSs set up and then taking the audio file that where I record my commentary. In fact, I'm actually recording it right now on the same OBS file into Adobe Audition, and I edit the audio from there and get any static out because I remember him telling me that my Let's Go videos were very staticky and pretty much all that stuff. So yeah, I remember him recommending Audacity to me. In fact, I probably would have gone into Audacity if I didn't realize the fact that, hey, I have Adobe Audition just sitting here on my computer for no reason. Let's just put it to work. So that ended up happening there. And so if you're wondering why a lot of my videos, especially in Ocarina of Time and the next series on my channel, sound better than my Let's Go videos, there you go. I actually do audio editing now. And not just video like in Let's Go. Oh my god. If there's any reason why I'm probably not going back to those Let's Go videos, that is probably the reason why, because there is a big notable difference between those Let's Go videos and every single video that came after it. It is oh my god. I guess the next thing I can really bring up about Ocarina of Time in particular is the overall creativity process into it. It wasn't nearly as tedious to make as Let's Go was, or even Final Fantasy VII for that matter. And Final Fantasy VII was a Let's Play that didn't really take any effort from me at all. The only real big thing I've had to deal with about Final Fantasy VII was, yeah, the research phase, honestly. I was about to say editing, but I was just like, wait a minute. I didn't even have editing software when I recorded that series. So, yeah, that was kind of a short-sightedness on my end, but hey, when you have like little to no money and you can't afford any of this high-tech stuff, yeah, it's probably something you're gonna really want to do. Also, I had no idea I really wanted to do Let's Playing at that point yet, so that really explains why I didn't get anything like crazy at the point. But we're talking about The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, not Final Fantasy VII. That series is already like 2 years old at this rate. It can sit back and die because that series is so outdated compared to everything else I have worked on up to this point. No, no. So the big thing about Ocarina of Time is that normally I play a game and I go for 100% on it. I did this with Final Fantasy VII. I did this with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, showing off every single Pokemon that's in the game. Ocarina of Time, I did this exact procedure. However, I didn't exactly succeed in getting everything. I actually failed at getting the biggest quiver for Adult Link, and I never went back and got it. I am still counting this as a 100% file because I did mention that it was there and you had to get a specific score on the archery minigame in order to get it. I was also there for the heart piece, which I did get, so that technically does count towards the completion process. Like, I was going for 100% in heart completion, which is ironic because that same night that I recorded that episode, I loaded up the 3DS version, did that same game, got both the heart piece and the biggest quiver on the first try. And that actually made me pretty mad because on the N64 version, or rather the Wii U Virtual Console, which is what I was playing on at that time. Oh, it took me forever to even get the heart piece. I think it took me like 20 attempts just for the heart piece alone, and I just gave up after attempt number 30 on the biggest quiver. It wasn't fun. Honestly, I had more fun doing the fishing minigame than I did the freaking archery game. It wasn't fun. Like, at least with the fishing stuff, I got the heart pieces, and I got the heart piece in the golden scale after like the second attempt. However, everything else just outright sucked. Other than that, though, moving on in the series, it was actually pretty smooth sailing, and honestly, there were quite some, like, mostly with the adult dungeons, most notably the water temple. I was actually expecting to have a lot of trouble, but I really didn't. In fact, speaking of the water temple, that's the one point of Ocarina of Time that I actually want to go over. For any of my fellow Let's Players out there, have you ever had a time where you're recording this really long, lengthy dungeon or something along that, or like some level it's just like ungodly long, something like Sandopolis Zone in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or the Water Temple, the Great Bay Temple, Majora's Mask, or something along those lines? Have you ever done any of those and you go back and check the footage and you realize you have corrupted audio? Surprise! That happened to me with the Water Temple. Oh! I have never had such a miserable experience with such a file. And the thing is that I was not about to go back and redo that whole 3-hour experience on the damn Water Temple because of an audio file. I just went there, edited the video footage so that it really wouldn't be too redundant. And then I just recorded that in I just recorded those videos in post commentary. I mean, I really didn't want to redo that whole thing because the video footage itself for those two videos were actually really good. I was actually proud about how my progress in the Water Temple turned out, despite the fact that I actually got lost a few times and had a little trouble with Dark Link. But it wasn't terrible. In fact, that was the only time I have ever seen anybody cheese Morpha. Just trapping it in the corner and just like slashing it until it's dead. I've never seen that happen at all until my playthrough. And I'm glad I actually got something unique out of it because it's the Water Temple. What else do other people say other than this dungeon sucks? This dungeon sucks. It's like, oh my god, I just cheesed a freaking boss. Yeah. I'm actually really glad I got that. That actually made that entire section at least salvageable to me. And I at least got a lot of excitement out of it. But yeah. That is more or less Ocarina of Time. So let's move on to the more recent, and oh boy, a lot of you people are actually gonna... Oh boy. Alright. If you're probably wondering about some of my greatest failures on YouTube, this next series probably sums it up. Final Fantasy VI. Alright. Final Fantasy VI. So remember back when we were talking about Let's Go? And I said that it doesn't help the fact that I'm living with my family and I have a loud sister who, even though you tell them to be quiet, they just don't. And for that very reason, I don't record during the summertime. There it is. Final Fantasy VI was easily the greatest offender of that. I didn't get the chance to work on that series again until freaking September. Yeah, I didn't get the chance to work on that until last month as of recording this. In fact, it wasn't until late September in particular that I actually started releasing videos. I actually started working on them again and recording literally at the beginning of the month. It was horrible. And the thing was, once the series actually got going again, I actually felt like it did really good. In fact, I think it easily surpasses Ocarina of Time in that degree. And despite the fact, and of course they're my most recent, I feel like going back to those the most, just because I feel like in terms of quality, those were probably some of my favorites. Holy hell, I don't think I've ever had to work on a single project that was this much of a freaking chore before in my life. Ocarina of Time, nowhere close to this. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, despite the fact that there was a freaking delay after episode 10, no delay. Final Fantasy VII had no delay for its entirety of its 73 episode lifespan. Yes, I know the exact number from memory. It's crazy. Final Fantasy VI, what is the second largest project on my channel, behind its predecessor, and or not its predecessor, but its successor. I started working on this at probably the worst possible time. Because, for one thing, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee started when I was entering senior year. Final Fantasy VI started when I was exiting senior year. Graduation season was happening when I released that trailer video, and subsequently the first 7 videos. Episode 8 didn't even come out until I had already graduated. And then you had all those episodes that came after it, leading up to episode 31, where it was summertime. I didn't get a good chance to record, and if I did have footage for later episodes, they were on my computer. In fact, if you're interested in how many videos I had set up after episode 31 during the summertime, I will actually be honest here. I had enough footage to get me through episode 36, and I stopped at episode 31. The thing with my biggest rule is that I tend to not upload videos if I don't have at least a week's worth ready by the next week. So I'm not going to really just record that much just to have 5 videos worth. I mean, that would have worked for Let's Go. That would have worked for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but nowadays, that's not getting me very far. So, I'm saying so a lot. I need to get out of that habit. It did not go well until, episode 32 went up. And now that the series is actually completed, I do have to say, in terms of overall quality, I am actually more surprised that the series itself came out as good as it did. Because, and in the end, though, I'm actually proud of Final Fantasy VI, because I, like most other Let's Players, I believe in the philosophy of quality over quantity. I don't care if there is a massive delay as long as it gets out and it actually looks good. So, for that, there it is. However, for pretty much every other spectrum, no. Early on, it was just, ugh. I had so much anxiety by the point of Final Fantasy VI's beginning to the it was literally bad enough to the point where if I literally sounded almost depressed during any of those videos, I'm sorry. It was because I was just getting out of high school at the time, and graduation it just saps like almost every ounce of like energy you have. Thankfully, I'm good now. I don't actually have school in my way right now, at least not yet. If you're wondering about my education and stuff like that, I am not in college as of right now. And in terms of that kind of thing, I'm not real too interested in going at the moment. If I do decide, it's probably gonna be within like the next year, because think about it. You've been going to school. Okay, I'll probably go on that like another topic like that. I had to cut myself off because I was going into a tangent. So yeah, in the end, Final Fantasy VI, it's easily my highest quality series up to this point. I hope to improve by the next one, which I am in the works of making. I have everything set up for it except for the logo. And which reminds me, we're actually doing something pretty new with that. And I'm not gonna go into too many details, but I'm actually planning to streamline the logos this time around instead of it just reading out the entire name. We're actually gonna have like an actual logo. That's gonna be really neat. And in the next game's style, no less. That's what I do with all my logos. It's always in the style of the video game I am let's playing. That much still remains the same. We're streamlining that. That's all going to be going out pretty soon from when this is released. I don't exactly know when this next series is going to be released. It could either like be a few days to a week after this series goes up. Not after the series, after this video goes up, it could be like I want it to go up by at least mid-November. That's like the big deadline for the launch of this current series for this next series coming up. So I hope to actually get that up. But now that I've actually finished talking about all three of the Let's Plays that I have played for this past year, what are my overall opinions of year 2 of Let's Playing, and what do I expect going into year 3? So, year 2, I felt like I definitely got a lot more done this year than last. For starters, for Final Fantasy VII, that series was so long. It took up like just about half of year 1, and then I had a failed Let's Play that went up. 7 videos. Those got deleted. I took a break for most of the summer, and then Let's Go dropped. That had a bit of a delay going, and that it rebooted in October. And then we came back then Let's Go ended in December. And then after that, Ocarina of Time started the next month. So overall, year 2, or not year 2, but year 1 felt really freaking long because it was 2 longer Let's Plays versus, or really like one really, really long Let's Play and like half of like the third largest project on my channel up to this point. And then year 2, it was the other half of that third largest Let's Play I've ever done, followed by 2 other Let's Plays, with one of them being my second longest. So overall, and in terms of like overall work I've put into the channel in the past year, I easily felt like I put in a lot more work going into year 2 than I did in year 1. And that was actually the year 2 goal for me. I got a lot more done in that time than I did in year 1. Now my year 3 goals. My year 3 goals overall, I hope to have at least 3 to 4 series finished by the end of year 3. Now, 3 of these projects coming up are really short. Like, really, really short. Like, Ocarina of Time right now is my shortest Let's Play with 39 episodes. All 3 of these upcoming Let's Plays are all shorter than that. So, that's how short we're talking for in, like, overall Let's Plays. And those 3 should get me through March, I'd say. If not March, then April. And then a 4th series should probably be going up by May. And that's pretty much when I'm going to go on like my summer break. And then once August rolls around, then I'm going to start a 4th, 5th series for year 3. Yeah, I have a lot freaking planned for year 3. So I honestly hope that year 3 is a lot more productive than every single year going forward. And I hope to see a lot more progress. As for thank yous and shout outs, and really, pretty much just people that I talk to overall on the internet a lot. First of all, and Honkaday, thank you, dude. I honestly thank you for helping me. In fact, when you critiqued one of my Let's Go videos, I think I had just finished recording a prototype video for Ocarina of Time, and the audio that I was using was that of Let's Go's. So thanks to your critique, I deleted that video, re-recorded it, and ultimately had that in that attempt, the audio was so much better to the point where I felt like that would easily do me for the rest of the series, and it did. That lesson also carried over into Final Fantasy VI. So, dude, thanks a lot. Thanks for critiquing that video. I hope you actually continue to critique my videos because I'm never done improving. Like, I honestly think I can improve in so many different ways. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, if you got something to tell me, just tell me. I think I said this at the end of my Ocarina of Time Let's Play. If you got something to say to me, just say it. Just don't be a dick. And overall, yeah, thanks a lot. The second person I would actually like to thank for this anniversary is the Legend. I haven't talked to him much. In fact, I think the last time I talked to him was during the beginning phases of Final Fantasy VI. Dude, thanks for showing up. Thanks for telling me how good the videos were on not only most of my Ocarina of Time videos, but the early parts of Final Fantasy VI as well. That really means a lot. And that encouragement keeps me going. Please. And I hope you actually watch my next series because it's a big one. Well, not really big. It's actually smaller than everything I've put together up to this point, but in terms of the game I'm about to be playing, it's actually really, really big. So yeah, hope you'll join me on that. And the third person that I would like to thank, and this is probably the biggest one up to this point, dude, the real M14. We started talking on Twitter during my Ocarina of Time Let's Play. I don't exactly remember what it was that initially caused us to meet. It might have been something Sonic related that I might have like tweeted out at some point. But after that point, I noticed you started coming to my videos for a bit, and I'd show up to the occasional stream. Dude, every single moment I've had, whether it be like you coming over to my videos commenting, vice versa, me coming over to the streams, those have been a great blast, and I hope it continues on into the future. Even with again, there's another project coming up. It's a pretty good one. It's a lot more of a recognizable name than Final Fantasy VI. So, again, I hope you show up. Hope you like the content coming forward. And that is pretty much about it for this year. Wow. I remember a year ago when I said I'd probably be surprised to make it past year 2. Here we are. We're past year 2. We're going into year 3. So, I already listed my year 3 goals. I think that's about it. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to get off my chest regarding the past year. See you guys next time. 4, when we see each other again. It'll be the next Let's Plays trailer. See you guys then.